Hi, I'm Sam Carman with the Indiana Division of Forestry, and with me today is Resource Specialist Abe Bear from Martin State Forest, and we're here today to talk about what to expect when preparing for a timber harvest. Abe, can you tell me a little bit about the site we're on today?
Yeah, this is Martin State Forest. We've got about 200 acres in this site, and we've been managing it for timber for about 30 years up here. What we have marked is just a typical selection harvest. I've selected trees throughout the tract to mark. Some areas are marked more heavily, some areas are marked lighter than others. This tree behind us is a typical tree that is marked with paint both on the stem of the tree and on the stump. That allows the buyers to know which trees they're able to take and shows you what the forest will look like after the harvest. You won't be surprised by how many trees are gone that way. You can also negotiate directly with the buyer, to purchase your timber, but it's also wise to have them mark the trees as well, so there's no surprises in what is cut.
And what's the purpose of the mark on the stump?
The mark on the stump sort of acts as your receipt in the woods. If the trees were not marked on the stump and you just saw a stump out in the woods, you wouldn't know if that tree was marked on the stem or not. You wouldn't know if that was a tree that they were supposed to take or a tree that was not supposed to be cut.
So that ensures that only the trees marked are the ones that are going to be cut.
Right.
All right. And what's the woods going to look like afterwards?
Well, that depends on what type of harvest you have. You can have a very light harvest where you just take the trees that are diseased or really need to come out, or you can have a heavier harvest. Typically it looks different for a while. You're going to have more light coming through the canopy. That's going to produce a flush of growth. But the important thing to remember is a young forest still is a forest, and those open areas will regenerate to trees and it will still be a forest.
Well, Abe, once you've sold your trees, do the loggers show up right away to do the harvest?
Usually not. Usually they have anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to complete the harvest. Now sometimes they will come right away. If they have a market for those particular trees, they may move in fairly quickly to harvest those trees. Other times they may wait until the most favorable conditions for your site.
And once they've taken the logs out of the woods, where do they go from there?
The logs will be transported to various mills. Some loggers do merchandise on site. They'll lay several piles of logs out and have different buyers come to the woods to purchase the logs. Other buyers may have a particular mill they work with, and they will haul the logs on their own trucks directly from the woodland to that mill.
So where they lay them out, is that the log yard?
Yeah, typically that's called the log yard or the log landing.
Can we take a look at one here?
Sure.
Let's go. So we're here in the log yard, and was this area clear before?
It was fairly clear before. It was grown up in very small brush and weeds and grassy area.
So they didn't have to, this wasn't part of the harvest area?
No, this was kind of an old field type area before.
All right. Well, point out to me what they've done here and how they work this area.
Well, it's kind of a typical log yard setup. The skidder will come in behind me. He drops the logs here and he'll push them into a pile this is what we call a knuckle boom loader. The knuckle boom picks up the log, it puts it in this cut-off saw device, and the saw cuts the logs from tree length. As they're skidded out of the woods, it cuts them into shorter logs based on the buyer's market, whether that be a 12-foot log or a 16-foot log. And then after the logs are cut, the boom piles them and also loads them on the truck.
Well, Abe, so now that the logs are out of the woods, what about the tops?
Usually the tops are left in the woods. Some buyers will drag the tops out, but generally they leave those where the tree falls, and those are either left to decompose or oftentimes cut up by the landowner for firewood.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, Abe.
Thank you.
For more forestry information, be sure and visit our website. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the woods.